Okay, guys, look. Look. Okay, so this aphelion, this kiln is promising. Okay, guys, look, I spent a few minutes just exploring this game. I think it looks cool. I don't know, how do you do professional gaming? I think you can do professional gaming where you're like playing the game really well. Look, that's not me, okay, guys? No, I could be like, look, I played a little bit of these games. These games here, look, the first thing I say about video games is they're too hard, okay? The easy mode is still not easy enough for me, okay, guys? You come to my channel, you're gonna see what isn't said in the world of professional gaming. That's right. Video games aren't easy enough. Look, we all don't start out, we all aren't born professional gamers that are maximum amazingness to the extreme and too legit to quit. I mean, is what I'm saying. Look, I'm not a rapper, guys. But I am married to one. Now, can you imagine if you could just, if life worked that way, you're just like, look, my wife is very capable. I don't know if everyone can see all the angles of her personality that I can see. I'm like, look, my wife would be an amazing rapper. Okay, now I'm just messing around. But this game, look, sometimes, look, I think your imagination is awesome. Just in general, like if you can, look, I'm like, what? People are right. What does AI do for you that you can't do for yourself? With your brain. Okay, here we go. No, this looks cool. Tried it for a few minutes. I don't know what to say. Like, look, you're supposed to pick up water, pour it in the other person's fire thing. This aphelion, or I would like to say a feline. A feline. Good joke, guys. Now this looks cool, guys. Played for a little bit. Look, I'm gonna try to say. It kept me interested. You know, sometimes I'm like, look, it's hard to find games that are just like doing something different. You know that other one, Pragmata. That's the same, similar, in the sense that it's trying to do something different, in my opinion. Okay, thank you guys. I just like messing around. No, I don't. I like to be professional, but hopefully in some way still make you laugh. Look, I do have a standard here, guys. I'm trying to be comedically funny, but still provide some sort of value. So, I said Microsoft. I can't believe it. Look, this is full disclaimer. I am a shareholder. I'm not only the hair club president, I'm also a client. No, I mean, I think wouldn't be right for me to like say anything if I was like not someone who owns shares in Microsoft. But I can't believe, as a shareholder of Microsoft, look, full disclaimer, as a shareholder in Apple, at Sony, look, okay, as a person who has equal shares in all three, I can't believe Microsoft, I can't believe you guys didn't care more about not being in the cell phone market. You know, like, look, Apple has its phones, Google has its phones. I'm like, how come we never got Windows phones? What, for like 6 months? I don't count that. And that wasn't a real Windows version. So I'm like very excited. If people say, what am I excited for? I'm excited for finally lawsuits to be settled, the federal government to step in and be like, look, 20 years is a long time. Why can't we have Windows on the cell phone? That's all I'm asking. This game looks cool too. I didn't know it was like, why? It's like I'm the only guy. It's like, hey, how come we couldn't get Windows on the cell phone again? I mean, like, I didn't have to hold out that long. I held out for a little while. Really, I don't. I'm not a big Google guy. Like, I had a Google phone. Now I'm trying to learn. I guess because I'm like, I was going to wait it out, guys. I was going to be like, look, I think this will all be settled and Windows will be restored back to the tier 1 operator status with LTE and cell. But then I'm like, maybe it's not going to happen. Or maybe everything will become an Xbox, and that's what it means to have Windows on every device. So thank you to Xbox for dropping the hammer, being like, no, this game looks cool too. I have the first car that you get, so I can like barely run over things, and I'm like, I need to upgrade it and make it better. So back to my thing, I'm like, look, video games are really difficult. I feel like it's a group of people who are aging with the developers, so they're equally good. So they're like they're rising together. But it's like if I'm trying to just be a person, no, because that's if you look at the reviews of people, they're like, which should you buy? But they're approaching it as if someone's just never heard of Xbox, PlayStation, or a Nintendo Switch. But the reality is like, who hasn't? So it's like, say you say you haven't put any money into it. Well, I don't know if they would be a good explainer of why you should pick each console. Is what I'm saying. I'm trying to develop that reasoning ability too, but it's very difficult. No, it's very nuanced. If someone tried to say like you're trying to learn how artificial intelligence works within any given field, I'm like every field is very nuanced. And what I mean by that, it's like it's very like there's a lot going on in the video game world. I'm like, look, what type of games do you like to play? Now, Xbox is changing. I really do hope that what would be my hopes is that what they did with the Ally X, they made it like you could boot into Windows, or you could boot into the Xbox. I'll just say skin, not skin, because they're turning things off in the operating system. Okay, it's like version of Ubuntu. It's like, okay, look, I know Ubuntu. I'm like, look, the Xbox layer is a version of Ubuntu, like Edubuntu, like with education Ubuntu. Shout out to France for having a police Ubuntu for their law enforcement. I think every police department uses their equivalent of Ubuntu. That's all I'm saying. Windows. I'm excited for their. I'm excited to take my Apple phone and install Windows on it. I think it's gonna be cool. Same thing with my Android device. I'm like, why can't I just? Why? I understand why some people wouldn't want to, but I never committed myself to learning how to use a Google or Apple phone because I knew in the end I was like, in the end I want Windows because I like Windows, and we finally made it to that day, guys. So thank you for Windows for finally winning the lawsuits against Apple and Google, and now we can have Windows on our phones. Look, maybe I was the only one waiting for that. I'm like grateful. I'm like very grateful that finally can be a thing. I'm just starting this game. Okay, guys. Bluey, we're trying to get everything in the Bluey game. This sled game, I watched my son play it. Look, Fortnite, Goat Sim. No one has to talk these games up. These are two amazing games. Okay, but look, I'm gonna show you guys. Look. Okay, almost 14 hours on the Bluey. That's why I do like kids games. Miraculous, because like I'm not that good. Like in my 4-year-old, I mean, he's just starting to learn how to use the Joy-Con thing. He like grabs it with his hand and moves it around. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, and we're both spectrums on on the learning, on the relearning, on the beginning stage. My 4-year-old and myself, a 45-year-old, up and coming gamer, wanting to be a pro gamer, but in his own way. Aren't those people very annoying, guys? They're just like, they want to be pros, but then they want to change the rules of what it means to be a pro. Okay? First of all, if you need to change rules to be a pro, are you a pro? I would say I'm not a pro, guys. I'm not a pro. I just like playing Bluey. My son's got me addicted to the kids' games. Miraculous. I'd say Bluey, Miraculous. What's the other one? The Barbie horse game was kind of cool. Is that on here? Hold on, let me see it. Do I have that? Barbie horse game. My watch is telling me good morning. Thank you, watch. Okay, guys, look, I made it to. Okay, this is kind of cool. This one's a cool one too. So, guys, don't sleep on this Barbie game. I'm almost 1 hour in. Okay, guys, my spy shots. Look, it's I have to put more time into it, but it didn't captivate me right away. Okay, guys, look, sometimes the trailer looks good. Look, I'm just trying to keep it real, guys. Mattel, Mattel. I might invest in. Look, I might get some shares in Mattel, guys. Look, I like to keep it real. How my brain is operating. Look, Smith and Wesson. I might buy some more Smith and Wesson shares because I appreciate the company and I appreciate their products, and I'm owned a lot of their products. And like I see stuff, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I want to buy some of their newer stuff. That's how I roll. That's how I think. I'm like, look, if it's worth buying a product, then maybe it's worth buying shares of the company too. That's why I'm like, look, Verizon. I say, shout out to you guys at Verizon. Like, why would I want to think of ways to cheat the cell phone company if I'm part owner of the cell phone company? That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to get people invested. I think you should. I think there should be a way to like have people motivate people to be invested in the company that they work for or that they buy products from. And I think it keeps people honest because I'm like, why would I want to steal from my own company? That's the way I look at it. I'm like, why would I want to steal from a company that I partially own, that I'm invested in? So thank you to Apple, Google, Nintendo, well, I was gonna say Walmart, but I didn't mention Walmart here. Uh, look, Home Depot. This guy, look, it's laundry. Corsair, Smith and Wesson, freaking Netgear. Thank you to all these companies for having stocks that are traded on the stock market. Even if it's only a fraction. Like I only have like 0.1 shares of Microsoft. During difficult, what can I say? Look, during difficult times, I had to like, liquidate a lot of like everything that I owned. But I think that's why we have stuff to get us through the harder times. And who knows? Maybe my life will be more difficult, and I'll have to continue to find ways to serve to just be able to be alive. That's how the world seems like it's finally go. No, I'm grateful that other YouTubers are acknowledging having, like most Americans live out of their car. I'm like, look, when is the vehicle industry going to realize, like, most people that have a car probably live out of that car because cars are so expensive. Look, have you seen the price of cars? Cars like $150,000. That's like what a house costs, guys. Okay, I'm trying to make better jokes, guys. I saw that Jerry Seinfeld, he's not a fan of the electric vehicles. I'm saying, look, battery cars, where it's like 20 years in, we just getting started. We still figuring out that we want the battery compartment to have a door that opens. They're going to change the battery. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Do you know that there are plants that will absorb through the air some of these metals that we need for batteries, and then we take these plants and then we refine them and extract the metals out of them. So it's like almost like recycling. It's recycling and then recycling again. I'm gonna link that, but yeah, in Malaysia, Indonesia, there's these plants that literally pull the heavy metals out of the air, and then we can use those plants to then create these newer batteries. I'm saying the battery tech, everything is evolving so quickly. I'm like, dude, come on, guys. It's just the beginning. You want to jump ship this early in the electric game? I think it's a mistake, guys. That's all I'm saying. I think if anything, I think there's going to be a brighter future for both. That's why I'm like, look, why do you have to choose sides? If you want to have a Honda generator and buy gasoline to power your refrigerator, then you do that. Okay, I could be a different kind of comedian, Jerry Seinfeld. If you want to use gasoline to power your lights, then you do that. If I want to use electricity, that same electricity that I use to power my car, then I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm just messing around, guys. Thank you to all the comedians out there. Thank you for letting me have a new stand-up moment every single day on my YouTube channel. That's what's really cool. It gives you the ability to just like create content on a daily basis, and I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. I love you. Like, comment, subscribe only if you're capable of doing so. Look, this Barbie horse game, guys, don't sleep on it. Oh, Gabby, that's a great game too. I just started that one. I like too because you don't die. You know, I'm like miraculous. Like we would die sometimes. I'm like, I get it. You're fighting crime, but I'm like, I like video games where I'm like, why is that even an option? Why is it an option to die in the game? I want to live forever, just in the game. Okay, thank you guys. I love you. Have a blessed day.